This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable.
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Hello, America, and welcome to the #1 radio station in all of Fort Myers Beach. Beach Talk Radio. Here are your hosts, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. We have an amazing crowd here today, Peter and Nick. Nick, thank you very much. These right here are the owners of Wahoo Willie's, and the reason they're sitting here now is because what? Too loud? I didn't forget his name. I know Bob's name. So they are the owners of Wahoo Willie's, and they are also the owners, working on getting the SOB open. The restaurant up the street is now under the management of Wahoo Willie's and Snug Harbor, and these two clowns right here. So
Fair. Well put. Thank you.
thank you. And so we wanted to get an update on when the SOB is opening. So Peter, when?
I think the last time you heard from the FMB builders, it was November 15th was the day. And that was before the last couple storms we had, which pushed them back probably about 2 weeks. And I'd say that's right around where we are. Would you say, Nick, 4 weeks or so?
We're shooting for it.
All right. So just a little bit of a delay from the storms like everybody else is going through. So
Correct.
around December 1st. And we planning a big party or something, or
Hopefully, as soon as people know we're open, it'll be a big party. People have been waiting. I mean, the reason we got involved with it in the beginning was because we wanted to keep the SOB. We didn't want someone else coming in and bringing a different concept to Fort Myers Beach.
yeah, big following the SOB. So anything different that we're going to see when the place opens? I mean, anything you want to share?
Well, we're working off of pretty much what Reed and Bill had done,
Okay.
and that might be a little smaller to start, but we'll keep adding and making some adjustments. But we're sticking with SOB.
Yeah. And Nick, for the 6 years that we've had the show and the 20 times you've been on, you've now said more than all those times combined. So thank you. Thank
Wait
you.
till
You're
next
break-
week.
You're breaking out of your shell, brother.
Good for 2 more weeks.
All right. Peter's going to introduce some folks that we're going to do like a check giveaway. So why don't you let us know what's going on? Thanks, Nick. I know
All right.
you're a good sport. I know if Kim was here, she'd be picking on you more. So that's why I made her wait. All right. What do we got,
All right.
Peter?
Well, thanks
Before
for
we get
having
to the
us.
mayor.
Yep. Thanks for having us. FMB Strong, Robert's here to represent them, and Joe and his aunt from Wicked Dolphin Distillery in Cape Coral came up with this wonderful idea about doing something to help the beach after all the storms. So a bunch of restaurants and bars on the beach got together, did a FMB Strong drink with pineapple rum from Wicked Dolphin, and raised quite a big chunk of money, I believe.
Yeah. I think I'm not going to steal his thunder, so I'll let them come on and we'll do the presentation here. So come on down, guys. Robert from FMB Strong and Joe and his aunt. Is your aunt here? Oh, You said his aunt was here, Peter. I see, in spirit. Okay. All right. So you guys kind of tell us first about the drink. What was the drink all about? How'd you come up with the idea for the drink?
So after the devastating hurricanes,
Nice and close with the microphones.
So after the two devastating hurricanes, we at Wicked Dolphin, we're trying to figure out how or what we can do to support our
Peter,
local.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
To support
Folks, Peter did something that I'm never going to tell you what he did. It was just, oh God, the live studio. This is what happens when you're not here live and in person.
Peter's face is getting all red. So, us at Wicked Dolphin, we're trying to figure out what we can do to give back to Fort Myers Beach. Unfortunately, after the devastating hurricanes, a lot of people thought that Fort Myers Beach was closed. So we were trying to figure out our part of what we can do and also to support a great charity, F&B Strong. So we came up with an idea to ask all the local restaurants, bars around here in Fort Myers Beach to help support, offer a cocktail, which was called F&B Strong, which was our pineapple rum lemonade with a little bit of cranberry juice, offered for $10 and give $5 of that back to F&B Strong,
Nice.
local charity.
Nice.
The restaurants that participated were La Ola, Wahoo Willie's.
Dude, you're sweating.
Yeah.
It's nice out. Why are you sweating? Are you nervous?
Yeah, I get a little nervous.
Yeah. That's the way I get when I speak in front of the town council. Frightening. It's totally frightening. So, but these people, they like you, man. You're giving away money. It's always nice when you're giving away money.
It's a warm crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need some napkins to wipe your brow or something? The mayor sweats like that when he's on this show.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
I think
You're
it's
fine.
the microphone.
Nice
so
and close with the microphone.
participating
Remember
rest-
Peter's motion, what he was doing with the microphone.
Yeah, well, I'll try to not do that. So participating restaurants were Snug Harbor, Wahoo Willie's, Nervous Nelly's, La Ola, Tiki Bar, PD's Upper Deck, Diamond Head, Lani Kai, Junkanoo, Fresh Catch, and then Flippers on the Bay over in Lover's Key. So all these restaurants participated selling the cocktail for 2 weeks. We ran it. We sold about 821 cocktails. We're still waiting on 3 restaurants to get back to us with the numbers that they did, and then raised so far over $4,100
Yeah.
for F&B Strong
Very nice.
That's awesome.
in the 2 weeks. So it was
Very
it was,
nice.
It was great to get the community to definitely help support and raise some money to get back on Fort Myers Beach, and also bring people down here to the beach to enjoy it and realize that it is not closed. It's absolutely beautiful down here.
Yeah.
And you got to come and support local.
Yes. How old is your daughter now? I mean,
She actually just turned 2 on
2 years
October
old,
18th.
yeah.
So yeah, she's freshly 2.
freshly
Audrey.
too.
Uh,
Oh, look at that. She's cheering for daddy. Very nice. Well, now we got to show the baby on the camera. Is that okay? Are you okay with that? Everybody knows. Here comes mom.
Yeah, she could make her camera
Yeah.
debut.
Yeah. If put her on daddy's lap, and yeah, because people on the Facebook have to see the baby. 2 years old. Oh, she doesn't like daddy very much.
Do you want to say anything? Oh, it's okay. I know.
Oh, she looked right at me and started crying.
Hey, we tried.
That's exactly what I do.
Go back to Africa, will you? It's nice to see she came back from Africa without any bullet wounds after all the crap that was going over there. So, what are you going to do with the money, Robert?
Well, we're gonna do a variety of things with it. Mostly,
I appreciate next time you come on the show that you shave. I mean, have you seen
What
the
about
mayor?
you? Okay, how about if you do it, I'll
Well,
do it.
I'm the host of the show. I know. I got to
All right.
shave this.
Next
ugly
time I'll
thing
give
off.
you that clean shaven
Makes
look.
me look 70. So,
But yeah,
but you got like little stubs. It's not even like you can grow it in on the side of your face. There,
all
it's
right, I
just
should have
like
taken his spot, getting a little farther away from you. But yeah, we're gonna be doing mostly supplies, food, with the money as we're approaching the holiday season. Our demand kind of naturally goes up, with holiday costs and whatnot.
mousse in
It
your
can
hair
be-
too,
It
I
can be a lot
noticed.
for a lot of people. So
What kind of mousse you using in your hair there?
I use the Axe Wax.
Axe
so
Wax.
I only use matte finishes. That's
Yeah.
You know,
Do you
of
spray it
course.
yourself, or do you have somebody spray it on your hair?
It's just like you take like a little bit of wax and
I
you just
see.
rub it into your hair.
Very nice.
But,
It's
I
not-
can recommend you the product if you.
Thank you very much. I need it for my beard. Axe Wax.
Yeah. So it's.
How old are
it's
you?
good.
25?
I'm 31.
31. How many kids are you guys going to have?
So far we just got the one. You know.
I can see that. I didn't ask that. I said, how many are you going to have?
I don't know. It's up for debate right
Well,
now.
how many would you like to have?
I think right now I'm good with the one.
And your wife would
you know,
like to have how many?
I think right now she's good with the one. So,
Yeah,
you know,
I see.
my sister and I, we're 4 years apart. So, you know, maybe at the 4-year mark, we take a look at it and see if we go for another.
4
but
years. That's a little too far apart. If you're going to have them, you want to have them closer together, don't you? So that they can kind of.
I personally think it's perfect.
Yeah.
But I know some people, they want those Irish twins. They want the kids to kind of be
Irish
you know,
twins. I see.
closer in age. But, you
Okay.
know, everyone's a little different. Every family's a little
All
different.
right,
and-
Robert. Enough about you. Can we get back to the reason that?
Hey, you're asking the questions. You're asking them.
I'm on a roll today. Get ready, Mayor. I'm on a roll. Oh, Bruiser's here too. Holy crap! The whole gang's here, man.
What up, Bruiser?
What, Joe? Did we cover everything? Oh, we got a gift basket. Let's do a
we
gift
have a
basket giveaway.
giveaway.
Now, where did the entries come from?
So it came from the social media campaign on Facebook.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
the post, and then I actually have all the names here in this
Nice.
bucket, and we're actually gonna let someone in the crowd pick it
Yeah.
out.
So what do you got there?
What is in the gift basket? We have
Can't see it.
a ton of gift certificates from all the participating restaurants. We have some fabulous, delicious Wicked Dolphin rum, some T-shirts. We also have a private tour,
It's good.
private tour with a distiller at Wicked Dolphin.
In full transparency, you did give me a free bottle of rum to pay me off for some reason. I have no idea why, but we got some kind of pineapple rum to take home today, dear, because you know what that's going to mean. You're going to get a little frisky.
Sunday fun day.
It's absolutely delicious. You
I
guys
have
will
no-
enjoy it
I-
while watching the game.
I apologize to the whole crowd today. I
That
have
stuff is
no
good.
idea what's wrong with me. Oh. Oh, I had to pay them off to come here today to sit here with those yellow shirts on. All right, what are we doing now? I completely lost
So
track of
we're
what's going
gonna
on
get
here.
someone in the crowd, whoever would like, one person.
Sharon, the newest member of the new and improved Murph committee. Come on down, Sharon. Come on, Sharon. Sharon, I
So-
want you to nominate Dave Nussbaum as the chairman of the Murph committee, please. Yes.
So Sharon, you're gonna just pick one of the names or one of the
Nice
pieces
and
of
close with
paper
the
out of there.
microphone.
We're gonna pick one of the
Yeah.
names out of there, and they will be the winner of the
All
gift
right.
basket.
And you
If they
obviously you
come-
don't need be present to win because
Nope,
these were
they're
done
gonna-
online.
Yep,
Sharon.
they're gonna actually come pick it up at Wicked Dolphin.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. Sit back down. Thank you very much.
So the winner of the gift basket is Marie Gillen.
Marie Gillen, congratulations. You're going to be hammered this weekend, Marie,
And she'll be able to pick up the gift basket at Wicked Dolphin.
which is in Cape Coral. Tell everybody about the distillery in Cape Coral.
Yep. So Wicked Dolphin started back in 2010. It is located off Pine Island Road. We do tours, free tours, tastings. We have all of our products are all natural, no artificial flavorings, absolutely delicious, gluten-free, low calorie, less sugar.
Nobody drinking cares about how much sugar is in their drinks. Come on, man.
So we're actually watered by USA Today, top craft rum distillery in the country.
You know,
4
when I
years
go
in a
out
row.
when I go out to a restaurant and I look at the menu and I see the calories on the menu, I'm thinking that's the dumbest marketing you could ever do. Like when people go to a restaurant, they never want to see what calories are in. It's like, do you agree with that or?
I personally I don't, but
Right.
there are some people that are very health conscious.
There we go.
I think she shut you off. But yeah, so Wicked Dolphin located in Cape Coral. So if you guys have never checked it out, please come check us out or ask around at the local bars, restaurants, liquor stores. We started in 2010, and we were just awarded top 10
You're doing great.
top 10
Oh, thanks.
distillery in the country, which is an awesome.
Yeah, very
awesome,
nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you know, I really want to thank you guys because these kind of collaborations are really what FMB Strong is built upon. You know, you can't really go out there as a solo organization and expect to make it. You got to be open to collaborations like this, these creative kind of ideas that small businesses, you know, around the Lee County area, greater, bring to the table. So thank you very much. This is a huge thing. Maybe we can do it again in the future. I think it's proven to be successful, and so thank you again.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Really
And
appreciate everything.
Joanne is watching, and she says thank you as well from everybody at Wicked Dolphin. And Joanne is that your aunt?
Yes. So
All right, Joanne's your aunt. All right, everybody.
Ooh, Joanne.
Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for
Thank you
doing
so
what you
much,
did, and we
Ed, for
look
having
forward
us.
to you working with everybody on the beach in the near future. And by the way, F&B Strong is located at 820 Buttonwood, and if you need a pressure washer, you can go down to 820 Buttonwood and borrow one.
Yeah, that's true. We got a great free of charge leasing program now. So if you do need one, we'll give it to you.
All right, guys. Thanks very much, and have a great weekend. And
Thank you so much for having
thank
us.
you for
Thank
the
you so much.
pineapple rum that me and the wife are gonna take shots.
I hope you
of
guys
later.
enjoy it later.
Thank you very much. Yes, because by halftime the Giants will be losing by 40 points. So, all right, this is how you exit the stage, Robert. Come on,
Thanks,
man.
Ed.
No, I'm kidding. Thank you guys very much. Come on, dear. Come on down. Ladies and gentlemen, fresh back from Africa, my wife of 30, soon to be 30 years of nothing but bliss, my wife, Kim Ryan, the co-host of this award-winning Dinky podcast. Thank you, guys. Come on down, Mayor Dan Allers. Man, I love it when the crowd is like this. They're all crazy feisty. Yeah. What?
That's his
Maybe.
phone,
Yeah. Why are you interrupting the
it's
show?
got the dog on it. I
Yeah.
can't find. No,
Doesn't
no,
matter
no,
where
no,
you sit there.
no.
So I don't know if
What
you.
is with you today?
I don't know what it is today.
Did you get up and
It's
work out?
it's the time change. Number 3, please.
Did you get up and work out?
I
All right.
did. I
How's that?
love.
Okay, so here's the thing: you don't just stop by somebody's house unannounced.
It's our daughter. I'm not
I
allowed
know
to
you
stop by
still
her
don't
house.
Stop by anybody's house.
Oh.
No.
I forgot to mention it. Howie is here, and Howie wanted me to mention to everybody that the Senior Softball League begins next week, next Thursday,
Nice.
and it's what time is it again, Howie? 9:30 in the morning.
And what are the age? What's
There's no
considered a
age.
senior?
No age.
Mm.
Blind, crippled, or crazy, and they
If
play
they
at
don't
the.
walk,
We should do
drag
that.
I know he asked me to come down, but
When
that's
is
my
it?
nap. That's my nap time. It's
You get
Thursday,
2 hours of nap. That's part of the rules.
and it's at the Bay Oaks Little League field.
I would like
so-
to play. I
Yeah.
would.
Is
like
it
to play
co-ed,
it.
Howie, or just dudes? Yeah. And if there's 30 people on a team, they all get to hit. You get out there and everybody plays. So that's Thursday of next week. So thank you for reminding me, Howie.
I want to do that.
He went to the gym
Gotta
too, I
love
guess.
Howie.
Yeah. Oh man, he is a beach classic right there.
That's
so,
the loudest I think I've ever heard of.
Yeah. The first thing is obviously if you watched on Facebook today, you saw. Thank you, Howie. That my wife has a bone to pick with you. Did you see that?
She does.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
So,
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear
So what?
Get in
Dan,
line.
every once in a while, Dan will call me up. We'll have a conversation. And so last week I don't even know what we were talking about. But I have a baby truck, and people make fun of it because it's a baby truck. And Dan called it a Barbie truck, and it's like there's certain line that you cross with somebody where you call you called it a Barbie truck, and
Well,
you
there's
said it like you
there's
thought it was being called that all along. I really was offended by that.
Well, that's what I've always called it. So back when I lived in Minnesota, my old neighbor, we became very good friends. His name is Dan. Also, he and his wife Karen have come down here several times to visit us. And when I first met him, when they first came out with that little Ford Explorer type 4-door little baby truck, So one of our neighbors called it the Barbie truck. So every time I see a small truck, I just refer to it as a Barbie truck.
Oh, that
But
hurt.
we can call
Here.
it baby truck.
Thank you very much.
if
I
that
prefer
makes
the
you feel
baby truck.
better.
The Barbie truck is just a little too much.
Oh, well,
So-
that's fine.
So you have a kind of a pretty bigly announcement to make about something that you've been working on. So please do share with the audience.
Yeah, so back in 2016, some friends of ours, Bruiser was one of them, obviously. Our friend Danielle Newrider, who lives, if anybody remembers her when she was down here, she lives back up north now, but her and her sister have Miss Olivia's line. They make the really nice glass jewelry and stuff. If you haven't seen it, look it up. So just decided to get together and ride bikes down a street and sing some carols. And my daughters were in town at the time. So there was not, I just looking at the picture this morning, as a matter of fact, it was like maybe 10 or 12 of us, I think. It wasn't very many. And so we just rode up and down. We went through Red Coconut. We did that. And then every year it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then obviously Ian came, so we didn't get to do it that year. And then we started it back up. Last year we did it. We took off from Red Coconut or from obviously we had coconuts not around, so we started and took off from Rude Shrimp when they were over at Moss Marine, and kind of did a ride. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's kind of an all-age fun thing that, you know, you can bring your kids, you bring your costumes, you decorate your bikes. You guys have been involved with it for years and years and years. So this year I was talking to Megan. I'm like, well, let's, you know, with all the hurricanes we've gone through and, you know, things like, let's try to make it a bigger event this year. And anybody that knows me, when I get an idea in my head, I just go with it. Sometimes it comes together faster, you know, than you expect. So this year we're going to make it we're going to have a little bit bigger of an event. We're going to meet from 4 to 6 here at Bayside Park. We've gotten a few sponsors already. We're one sponsor short to make the entire thing happen, I think. But
Wicked Dolphin, where'd they go?
But so we're $500 from our goal. So we're pretty close. But we're going to have a band. So Snug Harbor, Wahoo Willies, Nervous Nellies have teamed up to cover the cost of the band.
There's your sponsor right there.
Oh, well, there you go. Yes, sir.
Eagle Eye Aluminum just
Eagle Eye
signed up.
Aluminum.
There you go.
There you
Very
go.
nice.
Our goal. That's
Wow.
awesome.
We're bringing people together on this show,
Yeah.
everybody. That's
So-
what we do. Nothing but love.
So I had a grant. We have a very good friend of ours that lives up in Nashville and is very popular. And I thought, well, let's see if we can get him down here. And I talked to his manager and started putting the costs together. And I'm like, I know nothing about putting an event together when it comes to that scale. So I found out very quickly that my brain was bigger than my budget would probably be able to raise in 2 months. So I wasn't able to go with them. So we started figuring out what can we do to make it just as, you know, to draw in a good crowd. So Margaritaville has partnered up with us. Sea Gypsy Rentals has partnered up with us. Who else? I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anybody. So we got Allen Development Group, Beach Talk Radio, Nervous Nellies, Snug Harbor, Wahoo Willies. I'm trying to think. I know I'm forgetting someone. Oh, Jorge Barrera.
Yes,
Yep.
very
He's-
nice.
I mentioned Sea Gypsy Rentals. So those are the ones I can't, if I'm forgetting one, I'm sorry. I'll make sure that everybody knows who they are. So what we're going to do is from 4 to 6, we're going to have an area where we always get together ahead of time and, you know, have fun, celebrate, decorate your bikes, help each other, get your bikes ready to go, get your costumes on. And then we'll take off from here at 6 o'clock. We'll head down Old San Carlos. We'll go down Estero Boulevard like we did last year, turn around at the Diamond Head, come back. We'll end at Margaritaville, where they'll store all of our bikes in their parking area in the back where it's secure and there's, you know, there's cameras, security and everything. So we'll go there, then we'll go upstairs, and the Ben Allen Band is going to do a concert for us from 7:30 to 10 o'clock. So it's free for everyone to come. We encourage all ages to come. This year we're asking that if you can bring an unwrapped toy for the kiddos, and we're going to reach out to FMB Strong as well as the Community Foundation to help get those distributed to where they need to go. So it should be a pretty fun event. It literally came on. You and I think talked about when I called you with the idea. I think it came to fruition in less than 36 hours. So just shows you the kind of community that we have, and it is really a fun event. And if you haven't had a chance, you can go look it up. We've changed the name. It's going to be called Pedals and Presents. It'll still be the Facebook page's annual Christmas bike caroling event. So if you go look, you'll be able to find it either from my page, and I think Ed, you've shared it. There's several people that have shared it. So go ahead and go take a look at it. It's December 21st from 4 o'clock till 10 o'clock.
And folks, just a couple of details to throw in there. We've been on the bike ride. The first time I did it, it was so cool because you could go down the streets of Red Coconut and everybody would come out of their house. And
Yeah, it was really cool.
I mean,
Your
so
lights didn't work though the first year.
I was a
you
complete
spent
jackass
so
the
much
first time because
with that.
I always have to be the biggest, you know, person.
Idiot.
It's always
Oh,
got to
no,
be.
sorry.
I always have to have more lights than
I
everybody.
think I should tell the story. So the first year they did it, he had like these dinky little one strand of Walmart lights on his bike, and he's like, dude, this is not happening next year. So he's got like this military jet pack on his back with like power.
I had battery power in my back, so I had every Christmas light in the house I could
He's
find.
like, I didn't know what to expect. I'm not doing that.
We
And
parked by
then
the
when it
7-Eleven.
wasn't working,
I'm yelling
he
at
was
her like,
having
plug me
like,
in, plug me in. Put the
He
plug in
was-
the back.
He was having a complete come
Yeah.
apart, like a 4-year-old. I was like, all right, relax.
I don't know. I get like that.
But we've
Every
had
weekend.
the Grinch ride the green machine. And
Yeah.
you know, our age remembers the pedaling green machine. He did it one year and realized it was a little too much.
Yeah.
So, but
I think you should do it this year in the Vikings.
No, I'm going to be an
outfit that he
organizer.
got
I'm not
for
doing
you.
that. Yeah, I'm not
I
doing
think that.
no, so
Yes.
yeah, so bring
The
your, I
Viking
mean,
thing?
Yeah.
if you can't bike, you can bring your golf carts because it's on the
Yeah.
road, so you could drive it on
that.
a golf
And
cart,
what happened a
skateboard,
couple of
whatever.
years ago, this part of the story you didn't tell was that the sheriff's department started to see that
Oh,
it
yeah.
got so big, and they were like, they got out in front so they could help direct traffic just out of
Yeah,
the blue.
So,
Yeah.
my wife and I go as Santa and Mrs. Claus every year, and then obviously we have, elf. We always have an elf. We had the abominable snowman last year. I mean, so we've had all kinds of different people. The Grinch, obviously, and we've had Cindy Lou Who. We've had every costume you can think of. People come out and get pretty creative. And before Ian, we would go down side streets. We would start down by the Junkanoo, and then we would go through Red Coconut and work our way up and go down the side streets. Well, there's a lot of construction, so we're not trying to get in the way of anybody. So we're going to hold off on doing side streets till we get back to a little bit of normal. So we were going, I think it was Palermo Circle, and someone had set up a stand where we could all stop and, have a refreshment and cookies. And as we're standing there playing the music and everybody's singing, the sheriff's department comes down the street with their lights on, and someone's yelling, "Santa, get up here. We're in trouble. Santa, get up here." So I'm walking up, and the police car pulls up, and all of a sudden you hear the loudspeaker come on, and they start playing Christmas music. And
That's
like,
nice.
We're good.
Nice.
We're good. So
Yeah.
then they called into the department, and they're like, make sure they're safe. So they gave us a police escort the
Yeah.
rest of the way. So
This year would be really cool if we could get more bikes than ever before, because just when the beach was ready to look clean again, these two storms come through, and now there's sand everywhere, and it doesn't look horrible, but it's just a setback. Every time it seems like the town is moving forward, you get a setback, and this would be so cool to see more bikes than ever. And even cooler would be in front of that stage in Margaritaville to see so many toys, whether the toys are donated to FMB Strong or the Heights Foundation or whoever it is, just to be able to take a picture of hundreds and hundreds of toys, or for the beach kids, whoever it's for. Maybe it splits for everybody.
I'm hoping there's so many that it
Yeah.
gets spread out
Right,
between
yeah,
4 or
right,
5 different
right.
organizations.
And you don't need to live on the beach. You can come down to the beach for that day and ride your bike. The bikes are going to be secure under the Margaritaville area, and come and support the businesses too, because really we need a great season down
I'm going to
here.
ride this year.
Yeah, make
You
a day-
always-
make a day
you
of it.
always
Yeah.
take it from
So-
me. So I'm going to ride this year. Are you going to ride this year?
I don't know, dear. Don't put so much pressure on me.
I'm
December.
we should have a lights competition.
Oh, stop. December 20, we should come up, if you get more sponsors than you think you're going to have, maybe we give away cash prizes to the best bikes. We have people vote on the best bikes and stuff like that. I mean, it
Sort
could
of
be-
like the boat parade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it could be bigger than ever if you come up with different ideas. So anyway, December 21st is the date. So
Saturday,
save
yep.
that. And it's a Saturday, which makes it nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and the Ben Allen band is nothing to shake a
They were a finalist on The Voice.
I didn't
So-
know that.
Yeah, they draw a good crowd. They're a really good band. If you haven't had a chance, go check out their website, Ben Allen. I think it's benallen.com.
I think last time we saw you guys, they were playing at the Fort Myers Beach Brewery, right? I mean, the Fort Myers Brewery. I can't get the beach out of my head.
sponsor that
That's right.
I forgot to mention, who is helping out with the event, is Rusty. He owns the ranch.
Okay.
He also owns Tektronics, which anybody that's ever seen a
Yes.
stage or a concert
That's
down
where I
here
get all ours from.
has Rusty and his team have set it up. So they're helping us out with getting the stage and the lights and the tent and all that stuff set up at Margaritaville. So it should be a really big, fun event, and I'm hoping for a good turnout.
Yeah. So before, go
I
ahead.
thought maybe you were going to, that's a great announcement. I thought maybe you were going to announce that the lazy coconut was going to.
Well,
Wait,
you
you gotta-
trifecta here.
Wait, you
never
got to
know.
give the
I
history.
know,
Wait, you
I
can't just
know.
say that without Trey and Amy. For folks that don't know, used to own the Tuckaway Cafe on Fort Myers Beach on Estero Boulevard.
Which is now going to be Sandy Bottom.
It's going to be
Mhm.
Sandy Bottom, owned by Mike and Don Miller. And before the storm came through, there was you guys had a little mini brewery there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had officially just kicked off. I mean, we went through the town process and got the only Fort Myers Beach brewery in Fort Myers Beach. So we were actually able to sell the beer and Trey and we were the biggest. Yeah, I should have said only. We were the biggest little brewery on the
Not
island.
so dinky.
And so it was going actually pretty well. What was it, about 2 or 3 months where we were officially open?
Yeah.
I mean, we were giving
Oh,
away
yeah.
the beer.
And it was
It
a
was
great
so
hangout,
good.
nice
I
little
mean, you guys
hangout.
did
Yeah,
a
so
great
it was called the
job.
Lazy Coconut Brewery, and we were doing pretty well. And then, like everything else, it got
Yeah.
washed away. I think they found one of our tappers on Bunch Beach.
Really?
What was the street
Wow.
on the south end? I don't remember. the
Wow,
south.
Bunch Beach.
Flag. Yeah. So one on the south end of the island they found, one on Bunch Beach they found. We never found a
Wow.
third one, but I think we still have those two left somewhere.
All right. By the way, if anyone in the audience has questions for the mayor, now that we've got all the fun and excitement out of the way, please feel free to come on up
Yeah,
and
the
ask the
serious
questions. So obviously, you guys had a town council meeting on Monday where you voted. The town council voted to approve for the first reading onto the second reading, the Seagate Red Coconut proposal. What are your conclusions that you can share, if any, on that?
Well, I thought the LPA did a good job of going line by line and addressing a lot of the things that I had seen in the development agreement. One of the concerns that I had with the development agreement all along, if people have been paying attention, they noted. Before I go on, I wanted to say something at the beginning. Someone at the beginning said, "I hear you live in Cape Coral." I don't live in Cape Coral. In order to be a council member, you have to. I've lived on the island ever since I came over the bridge. But I don't live in Cape Coral. None of the town council
Dude,
members.
I thought you lived in Cape
Wow.
Coral.
The town manager lives on the
I
island.
thought you
so
lived in Gateway.
I wanted to clear that up because someone had mentioned it to me at the beginning. We all live on the island. You have to. It's a requirement to be on town council. So anybody telling you that we live anywhere than on the beach is not telling you the truth.
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
I've never
that's
heard
the
that.
first I heard
Wow,
it. But
that's
anyway,
yeah.
so I thought the LPA did a good job of going line by line. They covered a lot of issues that I had seen in the original development agreement. So we didn't have to go through it in as much detail. Obviously, height was the biggest thing that had, for me, the development agreement has always been, at least in my opinion, something that is very good for the developer, but maybe not good for the town because it doesn't have the details of a CPD. But it was in our it's in our code. It's now part of the process. You got to make it as strong as you can. So we went through the process with the first reading and tried to make it as strong as we can. I know there's been people out there that have said, well, why didn't anybody push him to bring the height down? I promise you, I asked to bring the height down. I didn't do it in public in the public meeting, but I've asked the developer to.
What would you have wanted it brought down to? Or
Well, I think anything that, I think everybody supports the project and I
Yes.
think everybody supports
Seagate.
Hey,
Seagate,
you want
and
me
they
to
think,
scoop?
and Matt he's
Donya's
tremendous.
got it.
He's trying to do his business just like the town's trying to do theirs. And I think he was a good example of how you go through the process.
Yeah.
You ask questions, you live, you learn, you adjust. I think the misconception, not to defend Matt, but I think the misconception is that what you saw at the LPA and what you saw at the town council was the first iteration of that. It's not. It has gone through several.
Many.
So what you saw is what he felt comfortable with. Our job is to not design a project for a developer. We meet with them. Obviously, we have conversations. They ask questions like, what is the community looking for? What's important? And we do the best we can as elected officials to let them know. This is what our constituents are telling us. This is what the community is telling us. And then it's their job to develop. They know what the code says. They have people that know, just like our people know what it says or interpret how they want to interpret it. And I think
So Dan,
They
can I
brought
can
the
I
I
project
just want to
forward.
ask, any of the previous iterations, you saw them or they were brought forward?
I've seen a picture of, no, they were not brought forward. I
Okay.
think
Okay.
what,
Do you know if any of them were lower or they've all been
no, they
seven?
were much more grandiose than what you see.
higher than
Okay.
17?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
if they were higher, but they were
Oh, I
more.
see.
I mean, nothing was official. It was just a rendering. I saw a rendering of one, and it was much bigger than what you see now.
One of the
but
things-
it wasn't. I don't remember if it was taller, but it was more intense.
Why-
One of the
Wider.
things I
Okay.
thought was interesting from Fran Meyer when she came to the town council meeting was that she said she's talked to a lot of developers and some of the proposals they put forth were way bigger than what Seagate. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't
I thought
even
that was
imagine
interesting.
how
that she
crazy
said
that could have
too.
been. But the thing that I thought was interesting,
And I had talked to a couple other people that had talked to Fran, and obviously we're bidding on the project. And Fran, I think, like I said in the meeting, I think they've been the gatekeepers of that property for
Mhm.
decades. And the fact that she took her time and didn't just jump on something and tried to vet it out and tell them what was important, I thought that was the first step, right? And then she decided to sell. And it sounds, at least I wasn't in the room, I wasn't part of the conversations, but it sounds like the Seagate group has tried to do the best they can. Obviously, we all know the value is on the beach, right? So building on the beach has the biggest value. The fact that they're moving all that across the street and leaving no development other than their private beach club on the other side, I think is a definite step that they have listed.
it wasn't good enough for you though.
No, as I said in the meeting, I think that there is a project that works there. I think they're really close. I really do. I don't know what I don't want to get into what stories and not stories, but I think for the most part, people like Seagate. I think the majority of the people like the concept. I think they have understood the process. I think they understand that, we do have to build things stronger and we may have to build things bigger. And I think people are open to that, but to something that's a little more realistic in the public, at least most of the people that I've talked to. So I think that they're close.
Yeah.
And I don't think the reason I voted the way I voted, as I stated in the meeting, is I don't think what is currently proposed in front of us truly meets what the comp plan and the land development code are requiring.
So it's not that they need to give more public benefit. It's that.
Well, as I've said, I'm not going to be shy about it. I think infrastructure is the alligator closest to the boat for the town of Fort Myers Beach. We're already suffering from problems with it now.
But doesn't every development have to come to the table with infrastructure fixes?
But what I said in the meeting is what I firmly believe. There's not going to be a developer that comes before us that's going to give us a letter saying, yeah, we're not going to have adequate water, or we're not going to have adequate fire, or we're not going to have adequate sewer. Of course, they're going to have letters saying that. But is adequate enough? And after the debate on Friday, I had a gentleman come up who was on the 4th floor. He said, before I came down here, I went to take a shower. I couldn't because there was no water pressure. That's today. And that was on a 4th floor. You're building something 17 floors high. Margaritaville had the issue. They're right at the base of the bridge where the pipeline comes in, right behind us, and they couldn't get water pressure on the 3rd floor. We have an issue. Now, Lee County is addressing it. They're redoing the plant on Pine Ridge Road. That will certainly help. That'll get our pressures up. So you have to install these pumps, and I'm learning more about water pressure than I ever thought I would ever know.
Yeah.
Well, evidently you have to be, I think it's 22.5 or 25 pounds of pressure before these boosters will actually kick in and force the water up to the higher floors. So if you're not getting 22.5 or 25 pounds of pressure into those booster pumps are useless.
So explain to me why I've been wrong the last 2 times.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. How much time do we have?
No kidding.
I just
You have an extra hour because we flipped the clocks back.
I know my opinion doesn't mean anything. I just throw it out there to kind of start a conversation. The last 2 votes, I was completely wrong. I thought there would at least be some negotiation from 17. I never in my wildest dreams thought 17, not because of me, but because of the conversations I've had with all 5 town council members. I never in my wildest dreams ever thought 17 would be approved by a vote of 4-1. It was baffling. Nothing against Matt. Matt and I have been friends a long time. I like Seagate. I think they're a good partner for the town. But 17 stories, I didn't understand how that was even a possibility on this island.
Well, I think everybody gets so hung up on stories, they forget to look at the overall project as a whole. And if you want to compare, I know you've tried to compare the EBIC one and then this one, and how did one get approved and one not get approved? That goes to show you every project's different.
True.
And both are completely opposite. The EBIC had a plan that met code and decided to go to a different one, and now they're going to come back and do something. Who knows what they're going to do now? Where these guys had a plan and they've brought it down to where they thought it was something that would be beneficial to the town and beneficial to them, and that's what they proposed, which is well within their right.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to get approved or denied.
Don't you think it's kind of funky that you can't get in line with the LPA? Like, you guys aren't really in sync.
Well, in fairness, with the first one, I know people want to say that, but in talking to some LPA members after the approval that they gave to EBIC, had they saw the information, they didn't have all the
I'm
information.
not talking about EIBC. I'm talking about Seagate. You were verklempt on that too, right?
I can't speak for my fellow council members as to why they voted for it. I try to look at every project, as I've said 1,000 times. I'll continue to say it. Does it fit the community? Is it in the best interest of the community? I understand the developer has to make their bottom line. I totally get it. Land costs have gone up, which is going to cause everything to go up. That's why we don't have a haircutting place. That's why we don't have a dentist. That's why we don't. The land cost is so expensive that nobody can afford the rent, and we don't have the people here to support. The business.
I know nobody's going to. I don't think anybody in this audience is going to disagree with any of the points you just made. I just think, I don't. When you even at the
it
debate,
was surprising that there just wasn't.
There wasn't even any say, hey, Matt, can you come down to 15 or 12 or so? I was just like, nah. And let's be honest, once Jim Adderholt makes a motion like that, everybody gets in line. I mean, when Jim gets out,
Well,
that's not everybody, but
no,
I mean, when you feel like Jim gets out in front of it like that, to me, it gives the others cover. Like, okay,
Well,
the vice mayor's out there. I can vote yes.
Well, and I understand how there's a willingness. People say we want to build, we want to build, we want to build. We do want to build. We want to get our residents in first. To me, I think that's the most important part. In order to, Matt has said to me several times, and I agree with him 100%. Just because a project is approved doesn't mean it's going to be viable. And what he means by that, and he's 100% right, is you can get approved for the moon.
Yeah.
But if it's not going to be financially viable, if it's not going to be sustainable, if you're going to build something that under the auspice that we're going to have a haircutting place in there, but it's going to cost them $150 a square foot, that's who's going to pay $1,000 for a haircut? The mathematics just don't work. So you can approve projects, but it doesn't mean they're going to happen, and they're certainly not going to happen overnight. And if you look at, there's a lot of talk about the financial impact. You will have a financial impact from the project, certainly, but it's 6%. It's 6%. Now, you can say that there'll be people coming to the restaurants. You'll say there's people coming and going. Well, this isn't going to be a short-term rental project. This is going to be a condominium project. So, you've got 141, in this case, 141 residents or part-time residents. They may be full-time, maybe part-time, that could potentially rent for season. So maybe they're not here for season, but they're here out of season. So, I mean, you're going to have a little bit of stuff coming in and out of there. To me, it doesn't, I think the project could be so much better and still meet what I think the comprehensive plan and the land development code are set out to do with the vision that was put in place. I think there's obviously got to be some give and take there.
Yeah,
I think they're close. I would like to see a few things, and
so do you think?
I'm in the minority.
What few things would you like to see?
Well, as I've said before, I think this island. One thing that has not changed about this island, in my opinion, is it's been inclusive. It's always been an inclusive island. It didn't matter who you were. When you came down, you could come to places like this. You could walk the beach. You could walk up to the beach bar. You can walk up to some other place, and you can sit down and you can have a cocktail. You can have lunch and you can move along your way. It has never been built on private. It's never been built on, and I don't want to say you're not welcome here, but if you can't afford to be here, you can't be here. And that, to me, at least in all the people that I've talked to and everything that I've read and everything that I've seen, the reason this island is so appealing to people is because it's so different. It's so unique. It's open to everybody. And when you start closing things off and making things private, I think you take away of what this island was built on. And
are you referring to the private beach club thing?
Just private in general. I think, and I've told every single developer I've met with, the first thing they say is, they ask me, what do you think? And I always tell them the same thing. If you're planning anything that's exclusive to just your guests, you're going to have a tougher time, simply because that's not what made money's important. Everybody's not stupid. They understand development has to happen, and everybody understands development has to make money, or the land's going to sit there. But you're never making more beach, right? You're never going to have any more sand. And as long as we have the number one asset and it's there and the pier is coming back, people are going to come.
Absolutely.
And I think a good, fair negotiation to get what is in the best interest of a developer, but also what's in the best interest of the 3,500 residents that we still have here, and try to increase that number. I think there's a balance that has to be there. And the reason I voted no on the first reading is because I don't feel that project meets both those criteria in my book.
Yeah, there were some people that were kind of throwing shade at your decision too.
And that's fine. You
were kind of just taking cover until after the election. What do you say to that?
That's nonsense. Anybody that thinks anyone thinks that I don't personally make a decision worrying about whether I'm going to be elected or not elected. This is not an easy job. Anybody that steps up to do this job, they're doing it for the right reasons. They're not doing it because they want to try to make friends or they want to try to make votes.
Or that you're making a ton of money.
Or that you're making a ton. No, you're doing it because you believe in the community that you've invested your life in. We have a business on the island. My wife works from home. We've been here since 2012. We have no intentions of going anywhere. I've met a lot of people. My business partner I met on the island.
You're going to move on the beach from Cape Coral soon?
I don't know. That's a long drive. No, I mean, I think people that put their name on the ticket, when you see things like that, you just got to let it roll off your back. Anyone
Yeah.
that thinks I voted no just to try to, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
So this whole conversation about public benefit, I watched the LPA meeting, and I think they're trying, but I just don't see how you can come up with a list of public benefit. Everybody's opinion on public benefit is so different, and then you put that into play for with the developer, and I mean, how do you come to some kind of listing of this is even the survey we did, which
Or
was
a rating
non-scientific,
system.
but the view corridor seemed to be the number one by far.
Well,
and-
that's what I struggle with is what's important to us now may not be important to us 5 years from now. God forbid we have to go through another hurricane. What we need 5 years from now may be more important than what you try to decide. So I think it's a very delicate thing. I think the LPA did a great job with their discussion on Tuesday to at least start the groundwork. I don't know that we're ever going to get, this is my personal opinion, I don't know that we're ever going to get to a point where you're going to be able to say, if you do this, this, and this, you get this. If you do this, this, and this, you get that. To me, that treads the line of spot zoning, and I don't know that you could do that because a developer can then look at it and say, I'm in zone, we'll just say A, and I know if I do this, this, and this, I can ask for this, this, and this, or I got to provide this, this, and this.
So,
So I don't know that you're going to be able to do that.
just generally speaking,
Because it
now.
would certainly be easy for the developers, I agree,
Right.
Yeah.
to say,
It'd
okay,
be
here's my pie
more
sheet,
clear.
and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
if I do this, I can have that,
Yeah.
and that's too rich for my blood. So I think that's going to be very difficult to do. I think what I've spoken to John Cost. I saw he was on your show, and he and I are in agreement on a lot of things when it comes to that. He's a smart guy. He's been involved in government. He understands it, and I think there's a way, if it's legal. I've talked, as I said on Friday, I've been working with the attorneys to find out, is there a way, and Jim Dunlap, who is, his banking background, he's a very smart guy when it comes to dollars and cents. And obviously he's much more articulate than I am. And he's like putting things on paper. Everything's in my head. So, I called him and said, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And we had a good conversation for about a half hour about how can we do things that allow the town to decide what's in its best interest or what is a true public benefit. You developer want to ask for this. Well, in order to do that, you have to supplement infrastructure or
So John Costas,
transportation or
I don't mean to interrupt, but John Costa's suggestion yesterday on the show was that every floor above let's say you're allowed to have 4. If the 5th floor is, you're going to do the basic stuff like a view corridor, then if you want to go to 6, a 500,000, you want to go to 7, $1 million, you want to go to 8, 1.5 million. I mean, he put a total dollar amount on each floor above that.
And that's
Is that legal?
Well, that's the conversations I'm having with the attorneys. I don't know if if it's not legal, we certainly can't do it. So, but along those lines, every floor is going to cost you whatever. To me, it sounds like it's not going to be legal because now it's almost like a pay to play type of thing.
Yeah.
But is there a way to say we have kind of like a CRA, but a little bit different?
Why don't you guys?
And I'm not the attorney, so she's going to look into it, and she understands what I'm trying to say. And I think she's going to try to come back with something, because if I'm a developer and I'm the public, and I know if we decide we're going to allow someone to have, we'll just say 5 stories. We'll just use that as a number because everybody likes to talk about stories, and it is going to improve our infrastructure, and we can say it's a tangible improvement based on X, whatever X is.
Mhm.
Then you can say, now you have it. It's not a view corridor. It's not a public parking. Is it something that the town can then take and invest? Can we invest in easements to be able to complete the bike path from the study from 2000, I think it was 17, where you could go from the north end to the south end to have a multi-use path. Right now is the only time I think we're going to have the ability to do that. How can we get development to invest in something like that to allow to be able to finish?
And you're talking a lot today, Dan.
Well, you can't cut me off now. I mean,
I got a lot of questions in my head, and if I don't ask them, I'm
All
going
right,
to
I'll
forget them.
stop
Isn't it similar to charging them another $500,000 each floor
Well,
to
it's
say?
it's similar to an impact fee, which our staff is working on to get that out. And every developer 100% expects to pay impact fees.
Mhm.
So is it a different impact fee that they're paying into? Is it different? I think there's a way to do it. And the reason I want to look at it that way versus you give me a view corridor and you can have this. Well, not everybody thinks a view corridor is important. Not everybody thinks that a public restroom is important. Not everybody thinks that but you know what everybody thinks important? Being able to take a shower and flush your toilet.
Yeah.
That's important to everyone.
Yeah.
and things like that you could then
Dan,
say,
don't you
we've
think-
got a problem. We've got the money. We can invest in it and fix it and go on down the road.
Don't you think that the number one issue with people on the island is the height of buildings?
Well, most people, that's what they're talking
Okay,
about, sure, because
so-
that's the alligator closest to the boat.
You said that twice now. Did you see that
That's
on
a
some
new
kind
one
of
for
TV
him.
show or something?
I
Like
had-
were
I
you
had- I had
watching
I had a-
Animal Planet or something?
I'll tell you a
came
quick
up with
story.
that?
I had a traumatizing situation.
With an alligator.
Recently?
I wasn't traumatized, but my family was. So Megan and I and my daughter were on an airboat 5, 6, 7 years ago, and
Oh,
we
so
were
this is PTSD now you're
not.
talking
No,
about.
I'm being sarcastic, but the reason I say that all the time now is because they take you out and they show you the alligators, right? And the first things one of the captains says, don't put your hands outside the boat, don't throw anything in the water, blah 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 blah. So we were on an airboat with some people that didn't speak English. It sounded like they were from Germany, and there was about 10 of them. So we pull up next to this alligator, good sized fella or female, I don't know, but it's sitting in the water, and we're in about 2 feet of water, not even 2 feet of water, and it's just sitting there looking at us like, oh great, another bunch of people looking at me, whatever. And the lady in front of me took an apple and threw the apple in the water, and it landed right next to the alligator's head, and its head, did that really quick, right next to the boat. And I've never seen a guy move so fast. That captain had his headphones off, and he was down in her face, screaming at her about how this alligator could easily jump in the boat at that depth and would have killed somebody. And she didn't have an understanding of what he was saying, but she could tell by his face he was not happy. So that's why I've always started saying alligator closest to the boat, because he was right. It could have jumped in the boat. It could have ate my daughter. It could have ate my
Dude,
wife.
you've been doing the show for 1 year now. You've never said that saying until today. You said it twice today. Now I've totally forgot my question.
You got cheat sheet. You got notes over
No, my question. Oh, we know there's 3,531 registered voters on Fort Myers Beach.
there. Who's counting, right?
Why doesn't the town get in touch with every single one of those voters and say, how high is high enough for you or too high for you, or just to get a feel from the actual voters? You can't take my page as anything.
Indication.
It's because a lot of the people, majority of the people don't have voting power, or they're not residents. So wouldn't that give the town council a little more guidance? Like my guess
Well, I
is
think
they're comfortable with up to 10,
Well,
not 17.
Well,
I never got that feel from anybody.
I think the comp plan discussions that are going to be had with staff and the residents when we have the majority of residents back here this season, which I'm hoping we're going to have a really good season. Unfortunately, what happened to the north of us, I think, has given us a 2-year head start on the rebuild over some of them. They didn't get hit as hard as many of us did with Ian, but they're still going to take a year or two to get back. And people are already making decisions like, I used to go to Island X, and now Fort Myers Beach is 2 years ahead. I think we're going to have a pretty good season. At least I'm hopeful. That's the best you can do at this point. But I think when people are back here in January and our staff's able to talk to them, they'll be able to get those answers. But right now, we have to go off of what's in front of us, the current comp plan, the current land development code. And that's what I'm basing my decisions on. If it fits within and the thing about a development agreement that really bothers me is it takes our staff out of the mix. Yes, the staff has to look at it, but they don't make a recommendation. There was no recommendation at the LPA, and you notice there was no recommendation
Because
at the council.
Andy he has to negotiate it with the developer.
Well, it's essentially what it's saying is we're going to let the policymakers make the decision. We're going to let 5 people make the decision. So for a staff, it's very difficult for them to look at something that isn't tangible like it is through a CPD that says this building's going to be it's 5 feet from here, and it's this and it's this. And so it's hard for staff. They can interpret it, but they're not going to make a recommendation. They'll answer questions. I think you even heard Sarah come out and say, I really don't understand the point of it because we can't, in a meeting, I believe she said, I don't understand it because we have nothing to review. We have a drawing to review. So that's why it's important to make sure, and we'll see when this proposal comes back to us for the second reading, there will be some changes based on the first reading. We'll see. We don't know what they're going to change, what they're not going to change.
I don't think they're going to bring it down in height. That's one thing I don't.
This is the most interesting issue.
I would certainly like to see that happen.
What you have is a major development that got approved. Then you have an election the next week, and then you have the possibility of an election change, and then a second public hearing because there wasn't enough time to notice it in order for it to be done on Monday. And will there be people that are like shocked that it got approved the first time show up to the second meeting? And how many people is enough people to sway maybe 2 votes? Who knows? I mean, that's what makes it interesting to me. You got all these elements that have lined up kind of perfectly for this development.
Well, and you know, it could go the other way though too. It could. We don't know if Seagate and Matt have showed anything. It's that they're paying attention and they're listening and they're adopting and they're trying to move on the fly. They haven't moved off the 17 stories. Doesn't mean they're not going to. Doesn't mean what we're going to see at the second reading. You're like, hey, we've heard the voices. We've heard from people. We understand that this is the biggest thing that's keeping us from getting the majority of the people on board. It wouldn't shock me. I don't know that they're going to do that. I would be shocked if they did, but doesn't mean they're not. So it's hard to talk about what's going to happen at the second reading one way or the other until we get to see what the development agreement is and if there's any changes to the renderings.
Yeah, and I do want to say thank you to Andy Hyatt for setting us up with Chad yesterday. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to watch the interview I did with Chad on the beach. He gives a specific and detailed update on the beach renourishment. We walked from where the pipes were to Times Square, and Dan, the way that beach is going to be extended from the broken building out toward the broken pier is going to be, I mean, people love that spot there, and that beach is going to be so much longer.
I think the vice mayor said it best when you're actually going to be able to walk the entire 7 miles of the island. I don't remember a time since I've lived here since 2012 that you've been able to do that. Back when the Wyndham, what was the Holiday Inn when I moved here, it was kind of a lagoon there. You couldn't really get around there. At low tide, you could, but so to be able to see that beach renourished back out to where you'll actually be able to walk and bike down the entire 7 miles of the island is going to be something that I think most people that haven't been here for more than 15 years have not seen.
I have the date wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, today's the 3rd. Sorry. So the other thing that I thought was cool that Chad spoke about was the people that haven't signed the easement and how that really affects the storm surge and affects the neighbors or the people across Estero Boulevard, and also the plantings that people have on top of the berm, how that protects from storms. It doesn't look like the storms are going to stop. And so, I mean, I hope people go back and revisit that whole thing with this easement.
Do they have a chance to redo it? Like, can they sign it?
I don't know. That would be an answer to Chad. I mean, now that we're having to redo things again, potentially, you know, I think ideally, if we could get everyone on board to be able to do it, we would really have something.
More open
if
to it
anybody
now.
that has been back behind Diamond Head, they took it upon themselves to plant their plantings.
Looks great.
And they get their pool open a day after a storm. So, I mean, the plantings definitely hurt. We haven't had time. We haven't had an average of 5 months before we get another storm. It's not a lot of time. Even if you were trying to put a berm down like you would do a cornfield up in the Midwest, even if you had the planter behind the plow, you're still not going to have time for that to take root and actually hold up. So
folks, we
need a little time.
If you're watching somewhere across the country today, please come to Fort Myers Beach this season. Make reservations at the Pink Shell or at Diamond Head or at Margaritaville or at the Lighthouse or Vacation Rental. The beach is open. The beach is still
the Best
the
Western's
beach.
Close to
The
again.
Best Western is getting closer. Every time they get close to announcing a date, we get hit with another storm
all the
for them.
vacation rentals. I know that there's been talk out there because of the last 2 storms that all you got to do is go look at the web cameras. I think Pink Shell's got one, Margaritaville's got one, Diamond Head. Go look at all the. You'll see how beautiful the beach is. You'll see how beautiful the water is. You'll see people out there having a good time. We are open for business. Come on down. Spring training's coming up soon again. Come on down and have a good time.
We had people here today that were that's staying on Palermo, and they were in the Roy Hobbs baseball tournament, which I guess is a 50. He said it was a 53 and over baseball tournament. There's 60 teams from all over the country, and they were staying here in Palermo. I mean, why not stay on the beach?
Right.
Yeah. Well,
53 and over?
I did.
I don't know how they came up with 53.
I did last weekend. I haven't shared it on my Facebook, but I'll try to share it today if I get time. I did an interview with a gentleman who's a broker, a real estate broker up on Madeira Beach, who I got connected to through a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, who's a realtor down here. And you know, their island is similar to ours. It's just population 4,500 roughly, and they're now going through what we went through right after Ian with FEMA, with they don't know what they don't know. And I saw a post from him last night. and it was saying, people stop telling people that we're not open for business. Some businesses are open. We need the businesses to come back. We need the people to come back and help our economy and help us survive. So stop telling people we're open. And I just made the comment that this is one of it's probably the most important challenge you're going to find as a resident is trying to keep people engaged to come down. And that's why your municipalities work so hard to be able to say Bayside Park's open, Wahoo Willie's is open.
And there's live music tonight from 4 o'clock
right? So
on.
we're back. Yes, you're going to see some sand. Yes, you're going to see a couple buildings that haven't come down yet. It takes time. It takes some time. But we're moving. Had it not been for the last 2 storms, we'd be even further ahead.
You should run for election or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So the other
Come
thing
and
is,
visit us. Everybody, fill up all the businesses.
we got the sand sculpture championships that are coming up in November. We got the boat parade that's coming up. All these great events are a reason to come down. What I thought,
and presents.
Right. What I thought would be cool is we could do music in Bayside Park every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which would draw more people down. But I know that those kinds of things cost money. So, it's already 11 o'clock and we know the Packers are going to lose to the Lions today. So
That's not true.
I know I'm a Packers fan. You guys,
Actually, I
because
hope
we
it
got
ends
your
in a
quarterback
tie.
now.
It should be a tie.
No, really. Are they both 6-2? Is that what they are? Both teams are 6-2. Man, that's a 425 game today.
I'm a Viking fan. That should be a tie.
Where are you guys going to watch the game? Lighthouse. Yeah, the Lighthouse has the NFL ticket. Margaritaville has the NFL ticket, and of course, Parrot Key is the Packer bar. So if you go to Parrot Key, every TV has the Packer game on. We were there a couple weeks ago before he got back with the Noose Bombs.
I just found my wife is a Browns fan, and I just found out that the Busters, if you're familiar with Busters, they're a backers bar.
Nobody cares about the Browns, Dan. Nobody cares about the Browns. Just like nobody cares about the Giants or the Jets.
I support my wife and her team.
That's right.
Yeah, she was watching earlier, so I'm sure I'm going to get some shit from her. So, who do you think is going to win the town council of Fort Myers election on Tuesday?
3 people.
Yeah. Who?
3 people.
Dan, I think Dan will come in first. What do you guys think? Sir, do you have a question for the mayor? Okay. I don't know.
He's thinking about it.
I don't know. He's getting the hell out of here. It's like, I heard enough of these guys. I don't know. After that, I mean, it's a crapshoot. And I
nice
wonder.
when Tuesday's over.
Yeah, I wonder. Let's say Greg gets elected. I don't know if he's going to get elected. I have no fish in that hunt or whatever the hell the saying is. If Greg gets elected, do you think that means something in terms of the votes?
Well, I think no matter what happens, Ed, I think the community won. I think this is going to be, if it's not already, the largest percentage turnout of voters that Fort Myers Beach has seen in a long time.
Yeah,
I think last I saw, it's been a day or two, but it was like 2,200 people. Somewhere in there out of the 3,500, that's 2/3 of our population have already voted. That's pretty powerful. So I think we win no matter what happens.
I don't need that guy backing up into the Barbie truck behind us.
We're going forward into mine.
Now you're learning the name.
So I think that your answer was very political and you didn't give an answer to my question, but I totally get it.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you who's going to win and who's going to lose.
Who do you want on the council with you?
I want, besides me, 2 other people that are willing to work as hard as all of us have been doing so far since the storm. That's what I want.
I think this is, Anybody have any questions for the mayor before we let him roll out of here and later? Anything that you think we missed? And we'll start putting the promotions out there for the big event on December 21st.
So I had a lot of questions about the commercial cleanup with condos. Obviously, condos are considered commercial. I've had a lot of people ask about Bay Beach Lane. I think that they understand now. So FEMA doesn't cover commercial cleanup. We were spoiled after Ian because the governor came in and said, Director Guthrie, you and FDM, get on it. We're going to do this Ian debris cleanup. We're going to clean this stuff up and we'll work it out later. That's not going to happen this time. We're working as a town with Waste Management to see if we can get a price to help alleviate that. I don't know how that's going to work out yet, but the condos haven't been forgotten about. But we're still trying to work with FEMA to see if we pick it up, if we can still get reimbursed. We're working every angle we can, but until you know you're going to get paid for it or what it's going to cost, it's hard to just rush out and pick things up. So be patient. The town is working on it. Andy and his staff are working every day to try to get it taken care of. And if you're stuck behind one of those big trucks with the trailer, Be patient.
Yeah.
They're there. Here's your friend. They're picking up your
Don't
garbage.
pass
And
them.
they have to separate the garbage, and there's a
Yeah,
monitor that
and there's a
watches the
monitor.
garbage.
It's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Newton Park, I just passed that. They've got a lot of that sand leveled out now, so you don't see the seawall anymore. You can walk over the seawall down there, so it's looking good. So sand's getting back on the beach.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and if you're wondering when the sand is going to be renourished in different sections of the beach, just go back and watch Chad explain it. He thinks what they're going to do, the sand sculpting, it was a perfect storm, so to speak. The sand sculpting thing is going to start behind Diamond Head at the same time they were planning on doing the renourishment. So they're going to bury the pipe and work around that whole thing so they can do that. But
They're moving at a good clip, though. Those
Yeah.
guys are they're picking up
it's
steam.
such an interesting thing to see
It's pretty
how
fun
that
to watch,
works.
isn't it?
Yeah. So, all right, everybody,
All right,
big
see
hand
ya.
for the mayor. All
I'm
right.
gonna read some ads.
Yeah, I'm going to read some ads, but I'm also going to make sure that Tommy comes on because today's Tommy's ad day. Tommy, come on down. Tom Coleman, everybody from Eagle Eye Aluminum. Come on, it's your ad day. So I like it when the
And thank
people
you
that
for
Yeah,
getting
for being the last
involved
sponsor.
with the.
when people that are the are advertising on our show, if they're here, I might as well let them tell about their business like Jorge did yesterday. Tom is the CEO and entrepreneur of Eagle Eye Aluminum. Tom, tell everybody what your business is about.
How we doing, everybody? First of all, let me just say that I sat down and immediately started sweating next to you. It's you, sir.
It's the fun.
You make everybody sweat.
I try.
You
I
scare
try.
them.
That's what makes the fun show fun.
Eagle Eye Aluminum, we specialize in seamless gutters, soffit, and fascia. We do some rescreen work as well. We do not live on Fort Myers Beach like
You
yourself.
live in Cape Coral.
No,
Oh,
South Fort Myers.
South Fort Myers, where all the rich
But-
people live.
We are humongous fans of Fort Myers Beach. Our heart is actually on Fort Myers Beach. Our house just is not.
What are you doing? Leave that money alone. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's always her
How
money.
do people reach you, Tommy?
239-340-1639. We work in Fort Myers, Cape Coral, and of course, obviously Fort Myers Beach. I love coming down here, working on the beach, and taking in every part of this beach.
Yeah.
My heart is here. I feel for the people who actually live here. So
You're here
any-
every Sunday watching the show, and we appreciate that. And we appreciate their last sponsor for the big event on December 21st. Remember, it's the bike parade, and we're going to collect toys for a local 501c3. So please stay tuned for more details about that.
We love doing whatever we can
Yeah.
to help out. Like I said, we're small, but we do what we can.
Thank you, Tom Coleman
Thank
from
you guys
Eagle
so much.
Eye
Thank you.
Aluminum. One of the things I forgot to say while the mayor was here, although we are going to try and get him on the show before the end of the year, we do want to thank Commissioner Ray Sandelli, who I think is going to have his last meeting on Tuesday. And he was the representative for his district, which includes Fort Myers Beach, and David Mullica is going to be the new representative. But, man, he did some great stuff for Fort Myers Beach. So we're going to have Ray on before the end of the year, and we're not going to be it's not going to be next Sunday because the mayor is out of town. He's going to take a little break and go watch his team lose to Jacksonville next Sunday. If they lose to Jacksonville, that's going to be pitiful. So thank you to Ray Sandelli. Tuesday is this Lee County Commission meeting, and I think that's going to be his last meeting after Election Day. I also wanted to tell you about the Alex King Group. Alex is a wonderful sponsor of ours and also a big supporter of the Fort Myers Beach community with the King Foundation. They create dreams at the Alex King Group. You can call Alex right now on his cell phone. I think Sunday is a croc day for Alex. And his phone number is 239-219-0336, 239-219-0336. And finally, Michael Stewart, the structural engineer that's going to actually put a house on paper that will never fall down. Not that there's been any houses on Fort Myers Beach that have ever just fallen down, but you know your house with Michael Stewart is never going to just fall off the wood pilings because, you know, he doesn't use wood pilings. He can design any structure, residential, commercial. Just give him a call at 239-292-7670. Or you can go online at mstewartpe.com and you can see the fabulous structures that don't fall down. with Michael Stewart. He is Florida registered. You can look it up. His registration number is 72459. That's 72459. Or you can email him right now at mstewart@mstewartpe.com. He's a great sponsor of the show. Thank you to Michael Stewart, Alex King, Eagle Eye Aluminum, the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, and my lovely wife of soon to be 30 years of nothing but happiness. We've never had a fight, ever. See you all next week. Thanks for coming to Wahoo Willie's. Bye-bye.